Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
It's time for the Dr. Tongie Show.
Hey, you're on the air with Dr. Tongie. Talk to me.
As soon as I hear your voice, Dr. Tongie, my day is better.
Hey, Dr. Tongie. I took your advice and made some changes in my life. And you know what? I've been winning ever since. Thank you for your advice.
Now, here's Dr. Tongie.
Hey, and welcome to the show, founded on Kingdom Principles, a show that will help you go from where you are to where you want to be. A show that has people that come by the studio and actually show us how they got here, what they're doing in the marketplace, in hopes to inspire and motivate us as well. And you already know we can't do a show without your girl, Jeannie Jones, Kitty of the city.
Meow. Dr. T. Look at you, looking like you just got off a private jet. I really think you land on top of the LA Talk Radio roof. That's, I won't tell anybody, but I think that's how you fly in sometimes.
You know what? Flattery will get you.
You feel that way though. I know you do.
I resemble that remark. And not to mention KJ, guys. We got KJ in the studio.
Absolutely,
with the
man. The ninja.
I know, right?
And you know what? I'm excited about your show today. Yes. You've got a power actress who's one of the number one shows on Oprah's own network, talking about her leadership impact. And also, this guy is impacting students spiritually and has a movement called Alpha to Omega, beginning to end. I mean, that says everything by itself. So can't wait to introduce him. But first, talk about those principles.
You know, I find myself, I don't like to write down things, right? But there are times when you just have to, if you're going to be all over the place. But this leadership series has been, it's been an eye-opener for me because I have to check myself every day. And I'm checking myself by these principles, and I got work to do. So let's do this together, right? This is part 4 of my 5-part series of leadership. And just a couple of nuggets that I really, really want you guys to remember. I want you to remember that leadership, as it relates to the biblical kingdom principles that we study, you were born to be a leader. You were born to lead. And you're designed to dominate. True leaders are relentless. They bear the answers to questions that will allow them to share their gifts. So you have gifts, and you have to serve us with your gift. You're going to serve your community, you're going to serve the marketplace, and you're going to serve others. Unfortunately, you do not serve yourself with your gift. I need you to know that your attitude is more important than your reputation when it comes to being an effective, true leader. 4 principles that I want you to jot down. 1, as a leader, you do not seek or pursue followers. You attract them. Number 2, your passion can be so strong, so strongly seen and felt by you that it leads men and women to risk their lives for its fulfillment. Number 3, conviction about your life purpose. This is what's going to lead you to keep going in the midst of obstacles, and we know how challenging that can be. Number 4, failing to discover or pursue your personal leadership potential. It's going to deprive you. It's going to deprive your generation, the next generation after them, and it's going to cause you to be responsible in trying to come up with an excuse to your creator as to why you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So let's get busy. Get busy rediscovering who you are or discovering who you are, and get busy discovering that gift or gifts that you were born with to serve us, because we're waiting on you. So get busy. All right? Yep.
Busy we are going to be nonstop.
Yes.
And speaking of busy,
Yeah.
this is a perfect person to say that she is. Not only is she having the hottest girl summer, she is also on one of the hottest shows on television right now, specifically Ambitions on the OWN network, produced by my guy Will Packer. And she's rolling around with some vicious, powerful sisters. Essence Atkins, who plays Amar Hughes, and forever can't tell whether she coming for you or at you, Robin Givens, who plays Stephanie Lancaster. But joining us now is Felicia Terrell, who plays the character Marilyn Barnes. You can check her out on Ambitions every Tuesday, 10 p.m. And I don't know, Felicia, you a bad girl. Like sometimes you don't know if you're gonna get stabbed in the back by you either. So welcome to the show. So good at what you do.
Oh, wow.
So good at what you do. I
Glad
was
to be
like,
here.
watch your
I
back.
promise I won't fix anyone a martini.
You
okay?
hey,
So
look,
you're
what do
all
you
safe.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, what type these sorority sisters are vicious, okay?
Ruthless.
Ruthless.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show, Felicia, and thank you so much. I know auditions, and then not only is she going to talk about how her platform in leaderships through trials and tribulations. You see power actresses, Hollywood, ATL, wherever, but they have the same type of levels and challenges in life. And Felicia, if you can just talk about what it's been like through your transitions in acting, and even having a 2-year-old, and just the challenges in life. Can you talk about how leadership and the things that you've done that have helped you get through?
Of course. First of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
My transition from, as you guys know, my background. I mean, I didn't grow up acting. I didn't study theater. I didn't go to school for it. My background actually was I graduated honors from University of Iowa with a journalism and marketing degree. Went to work for a Fortune 500 consulting company. I did that for a bit. Decided that corporate life was not for me. And so I kind of went into pharmaceutical sales for a few years and thought, well, maybe more freedom, that would be interesting. Again, not for me. And making that transition so late in life, and where it started was I had a elective class in my senior year of college, which was acting, and I fell in love with it. But being from the Midwest, I had that Midwest work ethic where you go to school, you get a good job, and that's just what you do. And, my parents were great and supportive, but that wasn't fostered in my growing up. I had no examples of what that bigger life could look like. And so I think that initial transition from going from corporate America, where there is a direct correlation between how hard you work and how quickly you move up, it was a slap in the face, because in the entertainment industry, it is not that way. There's a lot of luck involved. Yes, a lot of hard work, a lot of persistence, a lot of, for me, most important thing about this business for me and being a leader and a mentor to people that are coming up underneath me or asking my advice is you have to be absolutely dedicated to honing your craft. It's important, because when you have that integrity behind the fact that you're telling someone's story, and to tell that story, with heart and with honor and truth, and to do your homework, it's important, and it shows up on the screen. And those are the people that we gravitate to. There's a reason why we love Denzel Washington and Sidney Poitier and Helen Mirren, and I could go on and on and on. Meryl Streep. They do the work, and that has been something paramount for me in my career. But the ups and downs, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's hard. It is hard. The rejection. You hear more no's in this business than you hear yeses. And eventually those tables start to turn. But anyone that has made it, you can read their biography or articles or interviews with them, and they pretty much tell different versions of the same story, that you have to pick yourself up, put on your big girl panties, and keep going. Because if you let it knock you down and you stay in that woe is me too long, it can take you out. You know, there's a lot of actors that I know in Los Angeles that are just ridiculously talented, and sadly they don't get the opportunities that they should. And I think hopefully those times are changing. We're starting to see, thank God, more roles of just, first of all, women that are being empowered, right? That are of power and empowered. Women of color, these stories that really need to be told are finally starting to happen. But it's been a long time coming. And I'm also aware of all the women, you know, that have paved that path so that I can get the opportunities, you know, to actually pursue my passion. But it's tough. It's not for the weak of heart. That's let's just put it that way.
Yep. Felicia, you absolutely incorporated everything that's real and needs to be heard and understood. But I couldn't help but to listen to the level of actors and actresses that you mentioned. That's the creme de la creme who, again, through longevity and the way what they bring to a character is just you know, unbelievable. And you even said, you know, a lot of people, I mean, we say the term act, but like you said, how committed are you going to be to whatever it is you're passionate about? That was the key thing that you said. And just really, I mean, with all of the highs and lows that we have in life, the rejections, the pain, whether, you know, like I said, for somebody like you, I you know, salute you again, because you know, high profile, you've been in a high profile marriage with an NFL player. And then when that crumbles, I mean, how do you say, hey, I have a purpose, I am enough, I'm going to pick up and continue what I have to do? So what part of yourself in the turmoil made you say, you know what, I'm going to do what I said I was going to do? Did you have an anchor, another person? What was it in your life? Spiritual consultation, therapy? What was it that helped you get through? Because that's what happens to a lot of people too, whether it's the rejection or a painful situation or situations that mount up that people can't get through that level of pain.
Well, first thing, just to clarify a little bit, we didn't actually get married. We were engaged.
Okay.
But thankfully I was able to listen. I have not. There's no ill will. I think that, you know, he is a good human being. Simply we're two people that weren't right for each other. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, I was able to see that before taking that step, you know, of forever. But in terms of, you know, when anything in life knocks you down, I'm a firm believer in you can't push it away and brush it under a rug, because that stuff, that's not the word I wanted to use, will inevitably come back and continue to bite you in the ass until you deal with it. So you have to process through it. You have to go through all your feelings, get it out. And then for me, like, you know, like what is the saying? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Right. When someone tells me I can't do something, or you started too late in life, or you can't, because I'm like, okay, watch me. That's just who I am in terms of going after what I want. But I do think that those lessons early on, I don't regret anything in my life, because it has shaped me and made me the person that I am. And I think, if anything else, the guiding light always for me is faith and an inner knowing that when something has been placed on my heart to do, I listen to that. And I don't always know how it's going to work out, but that's the definition of faith, right? You got to put one foot in front of the other, and that pathway is not always lit up like a Christmas tree. Sometimes, right, you know, you're peeking around corners, you don't know what's next, you don't know where your next job's coming from, how you're going to pay your rent. Like, you know, if people knew the real story of like, you know, how to basically go from graduating school with honors, having a great job with a 401k and a company car and expense account, to then when I moved to LA and my girlfriend and I who moved out there together, I mean, we had nothing. We were sleeping on blow up, you know, Coleman camping couches, and we had, you know, those old banker's boxes were our nightstands, you know, that used to put old
I love you
files
for
in.
that,
Like,
Felicia. I
But
love
you know,
you for
that's
that.
exactly where I was going. That's exactly
Yep.
Felicia.
Yes, yes.
and people
Wow.
don't know the story or the struggle, but like, I can't tell you how long I ate ramen noodles and how like, and that was way after college. After college, I swore them off. And you know what? You do what you got to do. But like I don't care what industry you're in, what your dream is, I believe that it is never too late. It is the divine timing when it is put on your heart to do it. And you follow that path and you will see what you're made of. Because if I'm being really honest, I think at that point in my life, when I started this business, I think I was looking at being an actor as a way of, you know, I don't want to say like, I probably actually should just say, yeah, I think there was a part of me that wanted to be famous because I thought that would make me be okay, right? Whatever the stuff that was not okay with me on the inside that I had to work on and fully, you know, become that whole person, because we all have childhood bullshit and trauma and things that happen.
Right.
And that's why I talk about the emotionally processing and figuring that out and working on yourself. But in that process, when I got to LA and got humbled very quickly after my first few auditions and was like, oh, this shit is hard. This is not just about being attractive and saying some lines. Like, I fell in love with the craft, and I got my butt in class and studied with the best people and continue to do so. And in that process, it didn't become about me anymore. It was about how the art could pass through me. I could be the vessel to tell this story.
I love it.
So I can move, touch, or inspire someone else. And that, from that place, and that's what I tell up and coming actors, I said, if you don't know your why you're doing this, you will not make it. If your why is not strong enough, you will not make it. You can't just be, you know, the prettiest girl, the most attractive guy in your high school class, and, you know, you're charismatic, so you got voted most popular, and you're going to move to LA to become an actor. Ain't gonna work. It's not.
Real talk.
Real talk.
There's too many talented people in this world. So those people that I look up to, I mean, I just named a few, but there's, I mean, such a long list. You know, we will say, oh, they have this, you know, they have it. That it that we all recognize they have is that work, that deep work they do. Of course, they're immeasurably talented, right? But they also are actors that really have honed their craft and they tell stories with integrity. And I think that's a beautiful gift to the world, because don't we need more integrity right now?
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
In this world, we need as much as we can with all the turbulence we got going on. You're right.
Exactly.
What you're doing, Felicia, is just thank you so very much. And then secondly, for you to pick up and leave everything that was so comfortable for you. You said it best, 401k, company car. When did you know, I mean, in that soulish part of you, I got to go. It had to be something that you said you fell in love with, you know, with the art, but when did you know I gotta go? I gotta go. Come hell or high water. Yeah, I got to go.
That's a very good question. So I was in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's actually my first pharmaceutical job. We were still in training. I hadn't even started the job yet, but I was in P-PAC, New Jersey, sitting in a training room, like day 3 of training. And the trainer says, you guys need to check your voicemail. And all of us look at each other like, well, we don't have voicemails yet because we haven't started working. He's like, just trust me, check your voicemail. So we checked the voicemail, and the voicemail goes on to say that a much bigger pharmaceutical company had bought the one that we had all just been hired to work for. So basically, we were all going to be laid off or fired at some point. So it was just kind of, I was just like, really, God? Like, what? Why? What is happening? And it turned out, my territory at the time, I was back in the Midwest, and I ended up working for that company for a year, and I, did really well, and they wanted to keep me on. But I knew that meant staying in the Midwest. And I, God will give you whispers, right? So it's like, I'm getting to the point where it was so loud, but it was little whispers at this point. I just knew I didn't want to stay there, but I didn't exactly have the guts to move all the way to LA, but I had family in Arizona. So I took the severance package, which was great. They still offered those at that time. I had 6 months of pay and I think 3 months of health care. And I was like, I'm going. So I went to Arizona, and I have always been a dancer, but self-taught, never classically trained. It was just more of a hobby to me. And while I was in Arizona about 2 weeks, I was starting to look for new pharmaceutical jobs because I wanted to, continue to work. And a girlfriend of mine basically dared me to audition. It's very mature, I know, like I dare you, but she said, you should audition for the Phoenix Suns dance team. And I was like, no way. I'll never make it. I haven't danced in how many years? Like, these girls are really, really great. She's like, well, what do you have to lose? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, you're right. I'm not doing anything. So I go, and I had no idea how many girls would audition, but it was between 500 and 600 girls for 5 spots on the team.
Those auditions are ruthless.
It was,
for the NFL and NBA,
it's
crazy.
Exactly. It was preparing me for ambition, basically.
Yeah, and that's why you are slaying. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
These girls are like no joke, right? And you had to go to like all of these classes to prepare for even to like get into the audition. So I do all this stuff, and it's like round 3, and I'm still in, and I'm kind of exceeded my own expectations at this point because I didn't expect to get that far. And during round 3 was an interview. And one of the judges who interviewed me was the owner of the Ford modeling agency in Arizona. And she's like, oh, have you ever modeled? Da, 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 da. And I was like, oh, when I was young, but, my parents wanted me to focus on school. It's not for me kind of thing. Like, I was always, too hippie or not this or too, not tall enough or too tall or too black or not black enough or too ethnic. Like, it was always something in the industry that kind of turned me off. And she said, well, I really think the market has changed and you could really, have a future with this. And I was kind of like, okay. So at the same time, I make the Phoenix Suns dance team, which I'm blown away by because I never expected to make it. I got another pharmaceutical sales job, and I was and freaking started modeling. So that was the year I basically did not sleep because I had 3 jobs. And through that modeling agent is how I got my agent for modeling initially in LA, who connected me with my acting agent, who I am still with 13 years later.
Wow.
So
that's what I'm talking about. And then with an agent 13 years, that's a marriage. That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff.
Right?
Wow.
And it was lined up. And in that year in Arizona, that little whisper became louder and louder and louder. And I remember one specific day I had come home. It was like 3:30 or something. And, I was talking to my mom, and I was like, Mom, I really want to move to LA. And, she did exactly what, now being a mom, I know moms are supposed to do. I support you. I hear you. I think that's a good idea. But don't you think maybe you should make a plan, save money for a year, do this, do that? I said, Mom, if I don't go now, I'll never do it. And I knew that. Yeah. So that was my, epiphany moment. It was like, if I don't go now, I will, it just won't ever happen. And I'm so glad I did, because my mindset was, if I go and fall on my face, at least I know. But if I don't go, I will be wondering for the rest of my life, coulda, woulda, shoulda. And I'm not that person. So absolutely. I think everybody has those moments, and you have to listen. And I think, as much as social media and technology and all of these wonderful things that we're afforded in this life that we live now. They're great, but I think we have to be cognizant of how it can take us away and distract us from really tuning in, because tuning inward is really important. I mean, that whatever your spiritual life is, however you quiet down. I mean, I pray, I meditate, I do yoga, I do lots of different things, but that time for me is that time to check in and really just hear, and prayer is active asking. Meditation is active listening. They're different, but they're both important.
Absolutely.
Okay, Felicia. So when is your book coming out?
That was my next
Yeah,
question.
You got TV nailed. You'll continue to do well in
gosh.
television and film. When is the book coming?
Yeah.
I love it. You know what? At some point, I definitely want to write. I don't know what that story will look like because I have lots of different experiences in my life that I could talk about. I mean, you guys thought the initial, making it in LA story was tough. I mean, even 4 years ago, I was living with a 65-year-old retired Russian woman that, was very difficult, a very low point in my life. That goes to show you, like, there's nothing as glitzy and glamorous as it looks on the outside. This struggle to get to where you want is real. And I want people to know that it's possible, that anything is possible. You have to be committed and do the work. And I like to tell the ugly parts of it because that's real life, like Instagram life, real life, two different things.
Right.
And I think it's important for people to hear that. So, but I will, from your lips to God's ears, I love that. I would love to write a book someday.
Okay, so I'll be ready for that interview. I'll be like, Felicia, remember we were talking about that? So that is absolutely amazing. Well, we will continue watching, and I'll be looking for, who is going to survive on Ambitions. I'm loving your character, Marilyn Barnes, and I know the next season is coming, and I no telling what the hell is going to happen with you guys. But I'm so here for it. So here for it. Thank you so much, Felicia Terrell, and kudos to the audition that you either doing or about to go on. Claim that, and I know you're about to nail everything that you execute. But I knew it. But it's that dance, it's that athlete inside of you that really, really made you a go-getter. So kudos to mom and dad too, for real.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And thank you
so
much.
I appreciate it.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye. Hi, y'all. Take care.
Bye-bye, dear.
That's what's up.
Yes.
A true go-getter. And you see this woman,
I know.
just gorgeous, typical LA.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous.
Her testimony, she can say that, but people don't talk about those things.
Right.
So
Right.
you know me, you
Yeah.
know those my
You
kind of
know I
people,
know.
right?
You know,
Yeah,
I know.
I'll just invite anybody on Dr. T show. I'm looking out for you
And I
and
like
all of the
that.
VIPs and listeners because the
Yeah.
nice stories, I love them too. I love the fluff.
Right.
The fluff,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
But no, that's not what
Yeah.
helps somebody sitting there like, how do I get to LA? How do I, if I want to start my own business, how do I do it?
Right.
Is testimonies like
That's it.
Felicia's that
That's it.
say, you know what?
That's it.
Yeah, I can do
Absolutely.
it. I can do it.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. Seriously.
Yeah.
She's definitely a principled woman.
Yep.
She's a
Yep.
woman of integrity.
Absolutely.
Morals, principles.
Absolutely.
So.
And boy, do I remember telling me, think you finished with those noodles? It's amazing how they pop up in your life.
Yep. I still
I was
do
like,
noodles.
I thought last one, yeah. I was like, University of Maryland, look back. I did the same thing. I'm no more ramen noodles, no
Yeah,
more
yeah.
cup of noodles. Please.
Oh my God.
Please. I
We
mean,
look
how many,
forward to it.
a la, how many ways can you prepare
I
it?
know,
Souffle?
right?
Or,
Yeah. Put you some shrimp in there.
you know what I'm saying? Right.
Oh, wow. How
Incredible.
about that? She just makes you feel good, you
Yep,
know? And she
yep.
makes you feel like the impossible really is possible.
So make sure you watch her.
Yes.
Again, she plays Marilyn Barnes on the hit show Ambitions on OWN, Tuesdays, 10 p.m.
Yeah. Who is this?
Oh, yeah. The Dr. T Lounge just gets hotter and hotter. Very excited. Now, look, if I get this right, you might have to do I'm gonna have to do. Hold on. You know, because if you send me, you gonna owe me Starbucks. Hold on, wait a minute.
I got it right here. I'm gonna let you go first, though.
No, it's a Dr. Tongie show. So here you go. Just for that, there you go.
Oh my God.
Okay, go.
Izuchiku.
Close. Very
All
close.
right. I'm next. Izuchiku.
That was closer. That was pretty good.
Dadgummit.
That was pretty good.
All right.
Okay. Look, you notice, but you notice how I try. But do you notice how I try to throw a little accent? in?
Yeah, you saw that, right? You saw that, right?
to be cute.
Oh my God!
I tried to be cute with
And
it.
it worked. He said it was close.
No,
It was
it
close.
no. It felt good.
It
You
felt-
know what I
it
mean?
felt a lot
If he
better,
didn't know
yeah.
how his last name went, he'd be like, "Yeah, I'll go with it."
Oh
man.
my
Okay, so what is it?
It's Izuchuku.
Izuchiku.
Okay.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really
Well,
grateful for it.
Welcome to the Dr. Tongie Show, and I mean, talking about leadership and
Yes.
what this 4-part of a 5-part series Dr. Tongie is doing. You're encouraging students spiritually. I love, something about athletes. We just have that it thing, and especially if you had a great coach or training, it's something that no matter what you do in life, it helps with esteem and teaching forward. Loving the name of your youth organization, Alpha Omega. So talk about, why you do what you do and break down all of the greatness that you're doing.
Yeah, I do lead a group called Alpha Omega, and it's connected with the Westside Church, which is a church based in Culver City. And our goal is to communicate the gospel in a healthy way where students can not just take it, but they can understand why they do what they do.
Goodness.
And grow and develop in their faith at their own pace.
Absolutely.
So we help the schools at UCLA, Pepperdine, West LA College, Santa Monica College, and LMU, and that's kind of what we help our best to encourage the students that are interested. So it's a lot of counseling, a lot of talking, a lot of conversations, a lot of development, and it's amazing. Honestly, I think I got into it because I wanted to give back in the same way people gave to me when I was in their age group.
That's amazing. And you saying that you help so many college students and people through lives, because one thing about whatever spiritual walk people have, youth today are on a whole nother level of challenges. And you look at me,
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I salute and commend you for doing that, because everybody doesn't digest spirituality and lifestyles the same. So just to be able to communicate and assist on all of those levels, and no telling what you're challenged with, that's amazing. It's so needed. Everybody don't walk the same walk and can't just get up there and testify and say things, and it applies to everybody, so kudos for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You mentioned, I'm going to call you Kenny. Is that okay?
That is perfectly
Kenny. You mentioned that you wanted to give back or to offer what you didn't get. Why is that so important?
I think that as I've grown up, and I think as people grow, they tend to see areas of themselves that they say, oh, man, I really wish I had known that when I was in that age. And oftentimes, people aren't fortunate enough to have mentors in their life.
Right.
And they could be making decisions that are way more informed if they had just had someone there. Not even someone telling them what to do, but just someone there listening to them. And I think that for me, giving back is so important, because I just want to, at least if I could just be that person that someone could say, oh, I had someone that listened to me.
Absolutely.
Then people tend to figure things out on their own.
They do.
But it's helpful to have a sounding board.
Absolutely. I noticed that you have a wonderful team of people, educators that are behind you and saying, hey, come on, let's go. How difficult was that for you to find those people to invest in your vision to help people?
It takes a lot of patience and just trust, because I think as a millennial, it's easy for there to be a generational gap, and I need to be humble in understanding where the previous generation comes from.
Absolutely.
But to have the previous generation who are older and wiser and more mature, to say, you know what, even though we don't get you, we're willing to trust you and equip you and give you some resources to go with what you got. That was not easy.
I can only imagine, seriously. Wow.
But once you find those people,
Yes.
you have this working relationship where you can use the wisdom that they have
Right.
to help inform your decisions and how you can reach the current climate, the current culture,
Absolutely.
which thinks differently every year. You have, I feel like, a different generation popping out.
Yeah.
But to stay up to date is really important.
I think sometimes I take for granted that people will just get it, and they don't. So you have to live what you're teaching.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's I call it I've got to be in the trenches with the students, and they need to feel. And it's weird because most people who are older are like, I'm not going to go back to those. I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
But I'm on campus, and I'm a grad student as well. So I'm still on campus studying, even though it's a graduate degree. But I'm there. I'm spending time with them. I'm hanging out. I'm getting to know their friends, and I'm giving them a reason to trust me.
And that's why you work, and that's why they trust you. I'm so glad you said that. You're there. You're actually there.
Yes,
you know
you
how many
are.
people tell you, students or anybody what to do, and well, sometimes people haven't even done it themselves.
Right.
Let's just be real. and then what they're telling you, they haven't even been in that atmosphere. Or if they tell you to go somewhere, I'm like, have you been out on campus? Have you been on that block that you're turning your nose down to?
Right.
To understand why they feel like they do and what they've been through. So, yeah, I see why they trust you, and you're one of those type people that needs to be cloned. Because you just don't have them. But like I said, what's been poured into you and you're pouring out, the seeds will continue, and that's how we build this generational wealth and a healthier mentality. So,
Very
yeah,
important. Absolutely.
Alpha Omega.
You let's see. You started with an idea. Yeah. How do you go from idea to actual doing to actually seeing something and saying, yeah, that's right, we're doing this?
Right.
How do you go from idea to actually doing? Because a lot of times people, they have these great ideas, but they're praying, they're fasting,
Right.
they're around people that's saying, hey, you can do it. But how do you do it?
Yeah. I think that, one of the main motivations is when you read the gospel and understand the gospel, a part of it is what you said, the theoretical, the praying, the finding the inspiration.
Right.
But another part of it is going out and actually making decisions to practically live out. Again, this is where it gets complicated because there's multiple ways of doing things, right? So I think the best way to answer that is trial and error. You have to be willing to go out and try things, knowing that it could completely fail. And, if I had back to when I started to now, there have been many mistakes, many failures. But it's understanding that you're going out with the right mindset and the heart to get something done that's good, and learning from your environment and based on the mistakes that you make so that you can grow from them, and not being discouraged to the point where you're like, I'm out of here, because I've seen so many of my friends who've tried to start in this way, but they get overwhelmed by their mistakes and the things that they fall short in, and then they just dip out.
Absolutely.
But students need
They do.
mentors to continue pushing through, regardless of the mistakes that might come up.
Absolutely. I've never heard anyone say trial and error.
No,
But
he just everything
that
Kenny's
is so
saying is
honest.
right. No, it's
Oh my
honest and it's
God.
real. I'm like,
Absolutely.
you get my
Thank
stamp,
you.
get my
Thank
meow.
you for
Yeah.
being transparent.
Yeah.
Because we do need that. You've answered the call, so that makes you a leader.
Right.
A true leader, not a politician. You don't care about being liked.
Yeah.
But you've got a message. The message has stood the test of time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it works. Have you ever run across a sect or a group of people that said, you know what, we're not buying it, Kenny. Thank you so much, but no, bro, we'll just continue doing what we're doing.
Well, every day.
How about every day?
How about, I think I don't look at it this way. I look at it as people are on a journey.
Yes.
And they're at different stages of that journey. And I think that the message, the gospel, is supposed to meet people where they're at.
Right.
And I've never come across someone that says, I completely hate what you're saying. There's never, because because it relates to everyone in some way. I always meet people that are in opposition of maybe making a full commitment or something, or
Right.
saying I want to become like that.
Right.
But there's always people that say, you know what, even though I may not agree with you, I understand why you're doing what you're doing. And oftentimes over time, life has a way of, let's say, humbling people.
Yes.
Where they can see things differently.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen countless times where people maybe, even in college, maybe they go become young professionals or whatever, life kind of beats them up a little bit and they say, you know what, let me hear more about what you have to say.
Right.
But just keeping that friendship with them and knowing that I care about them regardless of what they do, I think that's what makes the difference.
You better believe it. Meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
Meeting with people where they are. Wow. What's next?
The age-old question. I was at Starbucks today actually talking to someone, and they asked me the same thing.
No way.
And I think, well, what's next is finishing my last year of grad school.
Okay.
And I love Pepperdine University. I love the
Beautiful campus.
religion department there. Great professors who are teaching and training and equipping me to do good work. And then I think the next step would be continue working in college ministries.
Okay.
Perhaps even leaving here at Los Angeles and going somewhere that's maybe in more need of people.
I can see
I
that.
saw that.
I see you being in
So-
different
Oh,
countries for
absolutely.
sure.
Oh,
We'll
absolutely.
see.
And, yep.
Speaking, honey, we'll come into an agreement with you.
Yeah. I mean, my parents are working on this project in Nigeria currently because that's where I'm Nigerian.
I know.
They're from Nigeria,
Yeah.
and they're trying to build a community center in the village that my dad grew up in, so that people can go back and give back, and that's something that I definitely feel strongly about.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's an option, and then I think what's most likely will be I'll stay around, get some more training in ministry, local ministry, and pursue a doctorate degree of some sort, and then that will be the end of schooling.
I think I've done enough.
Forever.
You know,
So-
I do have to ask this question, and if I don't mean to step on your toes on
No,
this one.
not at all.
Why not a building versus the marketplace?
I think that, well, in Los Angeles, buildings are really expensive. They cost a lot of money.
Okay.
And people can start viewing it as, this is where I need to go in order to be close to God or in order to have a good relationship with Him.
Okay.
And I don't know, we've been around for a while and we've seen buildings burn down, fall, and get destroyed. We've
they do
seen
that.
churches who've had many members just be empty. It's been empty. The buildings have been empty.
Right.
So it's not about the
Yep.
building. And I'm definitely all about marketplace. Let's go out, talk to people. What do you think life is about? Here's what I think. Have you heard of this alternative? And let's have a dialogue.
Yeah.
And I think if people feel like you can have a dialogue with them, they're way more likely to listen to you.
Yep.
They're more likely to explore your ideas.
Right.
And it's okay to agree to disagree. You
That's
know,
it.
it's okay. And then life, again, has a way of humbling you to show you different things that maybe will open your ears up down the road.
I love that. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, and then Kenny is very approachable, and
Yes.
what I love most, we talk about a lot, Dr. Tongie, just meeting people where they are, and helping them get where they want to be, and that has multiple roads. And you also mentioned, Kenny, that it might not be right now what you're pouring in, may hit them 2-5 years from now, and then poof.
Right.
So it's all about being out in the trenches, and I definitely see you doing that. I don't see you being still at all. I see you in multiple countries, but definitely back home and empowering the villages without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Oh,
And so for you, just all you need to do is create your app. And then we can just log on wherever we are in the world. Okay.
Yes.
So let me know when that,
That is-
comes out,
that
and
is-
I'll download.
Okay.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
The only thing
you
about
go.
her, okay, if you're
Yeah.
thinking about something or just mulled over it just one or two times, she has a way of being a birther.
Yeah.
I tell her, I get pregnant with an idea,
Right.
and then she brings it to pass. I kid you not.
Yeah.
God works through this woman. He does. So whatever she's coming in agreement with you, be ready.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned the app because I have a website. I do have a company. I do spiritual counseling and mentoring.
I'm just
and
waiting.
I've been thinking so much about creating an app
Oh, dear God.
to how to make it
I'm done. End of the show.
Yeah,
how
we
to
can
make
fade
it
to
more
black.
accessible.
Wow.
So, and I'm learning a lot about it. It does take some time. So I think you guys asked me about next step, but when I graduate, I'm definitely going to spend a lot more time seeing that come to fruition.
Yeah, because the development, for the levels that you have disclosed, it would take time because to make it compatible for the levels which, you know, you want somebody to enter.
Yeah.
And then I just see the languages. I mean, I just see it. I mean, yeah, kind of large.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think if it's God's will,
Oh yeah,
it will happen.
It's done.
But I've
ready
definitely
for
been
it.
thinking about it. So.
Okay, all right. So I wasn't off.
Not even at all.
I got close to the last name and we got the app. Okay.
I absolutely love this. Thank you for your joy, your peace. You have a way of just really kind of changing the landscape when you walk in a room.
Oh, thank
and
you.
it's a beautiful thing. Thank you so very much for letting your light shine.
Thank you. Yes. And thank you guys for having me on this show. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Look at Ninja over here.
I know, right? Did you have something to do
Pepperdine.
with this?
Pepperdine University. Little something.
I don't know what you're talking
Pepperdine
about.
doing big things.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That is incredible.
love it.
Well, again, is if students need to get in contact with you, how do they reach you?
Best way is either through my website, which is chukwuinc.com, CHUKWUINC.com.
That's easy.
It's very,
Yeah.
very, it's my last name, right?
Right.
And also my email as well. A lot of the students on campus already have that information, phone number. But the best way would be going through the website.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Dr. Tongie's
Yeah,
VIPs,
yeah.
I'm going to make sure
Thank you,
you can
Judy.
reach him if you want to. So, absolutely. And so, we'll look out for everything that you are doing and will continue to do on massive platforms. And if you need help with where you are to where you want to be, you can always interact with Dr. Tongie at Dr. Tongie Show. This has been an amazing leadership series. I can't believe next week is part 5, the wrap up. I mean, you really could keep going on and on. This has been an
absolutely.
incredible 5
Absolutely.
weeks.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, it's an eye opener for my own self.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm
I've
judging
learned so
myself
much.
by these principles, and I'm thinking, oh my God, when I thought I was there, you find out you're not there.
Right.
Nah, you still
because
got work, yeah.
attitude is everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Attitude is
And he's got a great
Oh, come
attitude.
on.
I mean, like,
Come
you know,
on. Yeah, he's so confident, not only in the delivery, but what you're delivering.
right.
Because it works for you, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And it works for me too, and it works for her,
Yeah.
for him, and for anyone that's listening and watching. They need to hear this story. You guys are doing this wonderful thing in the marketplace, and I salute you. I thank you so very much. Thank you for not giving up when you had those tears of, I'm done. Thank
Right.
you for not throwing in the towel. Thank you for thinking of other people and then yourself, but not forgetting that you're just as important, because how can you love someone else if you don't love yourself? It doesn't work like that, right?
Right.
Religion says love others and then yourself. He says love your neighbors as
yourself.
That's it.
Exactly.
As so it goes parallel.
Amen.
You know?
There you go.
Yeah, man, I've been reading that thing since I was 6 years old. It's one of my favorite books. I kid you not. But you are truly a living example of what I read. And for that, I say thank you.
Wow. Thank you.
Absolutely.
This is good, Dr. T.
Oh my gosh, Jeannie, what are we going to do?
Hey, we good. We are
Yeah,
good. Another
yeah.
one. So another great show, because we're always doing this together.
Doing it together.
Yep.
Absolutely. So coming up on the show for Monday, please, it'll be part 5 on that show, Talk to Tongie, Mondays, 5 p.m. And we're going to wrap it up.
On Facebook Live.
Yeah.
You gotta let them know where to find you on Monday.
Thank you very much. So I need you to do me a huge solid, as my mama would say. I need you to @ me, DM me, send me a text message. I don't know if there's a need if you don't ask. And there's a thing that says a closed mouth won't be fed. You believe that? Yeah. So I'm here for you. We're here for you. We're doing life together, and we're going to make a difference. This year, we're going to finish strong. You said some things in December 31st that you wanted to see, that you believed God for. Now I need you, with that same oomph of belief, to believe that you can do it.
Only reason I'm laughing because you say what your mom used to say, but all I remember my father, Frank Jones, saying is a hard hit makes a soft behind.
All right.
All of a sudden, no, it just came. I heard Frank in my head like, get it together.
Get it together.
Handle your business. Like everything else is cute.
Hey,
yeah.
is that where you get that from?
No,
She
it
told me
is.
that. I kid you not. She
It
told me
is.
that.
It is. That's
yeah,
why. Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being a part of the Dr. Tongie Show.
Of course, thanks
You've
for
got
having me.
a lot to do, man. Thank you, KJ. Thank you, Kitty of the City.
Meow.
Until next time. Good
Bye.
night.
It's still day.
You're listening to the Dr. Tongie Show with Dr. Tongie Scott, only on LA Talk